I go back to what Ronald Reagan said. I like his quote. I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. My name is Jim Fife. I'm funeral director, 50 years this year, and in the past election I voted for Donald Trump. My favorite part about being the funeral director is a lot of different things. I like to have the family have a good experience. Remember the person, farewell is a good farewell.
Holy Cross is down the end was Polish. The old St. Hedwig's was down the end was Polish. There are several Russian cemeteries over there next to them. We're in St. Stephen's Cemetery. This is where my grandparents that raised me while my father was at war, they're buried here.
My mother's side, a Hungarian, immigrated from Hungary, landed on Ellis Island. My mother was born on Ellis Island. When my grandparents landed in New York City, my grandmother scrubbed floors on her hands and knees, up and down floors at night when the buildings were closed. Came to Trenton. My grandfather got a job with manufacturing.
My father was a pharmacist, and I remember as a young kid, people called my father up in the middle of the night. Someone was sick. They didn't have 24-hour stores like they do today. My father put his overcoat on over his pajamas and come down here to the store and fill the prescriptions for the family, for their kids. This building was my father's.
I was born and raised in Chambersburg section of Trenton. Chambersburg was a typical family neighborhood. Doors were never locked. Children were left to go on the street. Very ethnic neighborhood. They're Italians, Hungarians, Polish. And my grandmother and grandfather, hardworking factory people. Picture of FDR in the house. It wasn't a question if you had a job, it was where were you going to work. There were factories producing all over Trenton. You had the steel mills, you had the pottery industry, very, very big. I go back to Chambersburg now. Every once in a while, if I'm riding through down that way, I could cry. The houses are boarded up, the stores are boarded up, the streets are full of holes. There are no jobs. There's no manufacturing. That's all gone, not only from Chambersburg, but from the country. It's gone. So the youth today don't have any place where they're going to start. I was a Democrat. I was raised as a Democrat. You know, that was our life. But I think to a point now, they're not for the American people. They aren't for jobs. They're not for things that the Democratic Party stood for to try to get ahead. And I can say the worst mistake I have ever made in my life, I voted for Barack Obama. I really thought what he had said resonated with the people, but the problem is he did nothing. And I think people came to a point where that's the end of it. You know, something's got to be done. And so you just can't go the same old, same old, same old. Let's give him a chance and see what happens.
If a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich. Let both sides join in creating a new endeavor where the strong are just and the weak secure and the peace preserved. All this will not be finished in the life of this administration, nor even perhaps in our lifetime on this planet. But let us begin. In your hands, my fellow citizens, will rest the final success or failure of our course.